The motionless bodies of the victorious doomed awaited the grisly fate the Blackguard had yet to bestow upon them. Bound to the discomfort of stiff metal blocks, both minds were awakened with fright. The fighters operated in the only manner the poison allowed, focusing on their breath to calm their chaotic nerves, which proved to be a difficult task of its own. The bubbling and churning in the adjacent room never ceased, and it did more than initiate fear into their hearts. Occasionally, they heard the grunting and moans from workers in the laboratory and the siphoning of liquids that transferred from vial to vial. In their fixed state, a supreme mindfulness was achieved, the most subtle of sounds clearly audible. Both were alerted as a quiet echo penetrated the halls. The door to the central laboratory opened. General Dak entered alongside Tenha. An array of colors cast an oscillating glow upon the walls from the reflection of liquids in test tubes of various shapes and sizes. The varied colors added a translucent spectrum to the center of the room.
It is here, General,
Tenhut started,
where all of our experiments take place. This central room is for working formulas, while the bank at the far end leads to the testing chambers.
Tenhut pointed to an opening in the wall at the end of the room.
Our traders lie there now.
I see this work has kept you busy, Tenhut. Who else has authorization to enter this room?
None. Other than a Bikutek and several of our aides. Not even the Pharaoh enters this room.
But he has seen it.
A time or two. He has no need.
The Commandant locked his arms behind his back as the pair studied the working technicians and the various objects of testing and creation.
The Pharaoh is concerned with matters of politics. I implement mysticism where I can.
How many ailments have you conjured? Dak said.
Since the making of the new dynasty, 64 that are operational. I have a total of 72. However, these remaining formulas require certain equations I have not yet had the time to master.
The words flowed from Tenhut, inflecting with supernatural rhythm as he spoke. Dak nodded.
Tell me, Commandant, how do you plan to administer the antidote on the battlefield?
We will administer said toxin to the army before the march to Irmard. The compound will lie dormant until the heart stops beating.
Ah, yes,
Dak replied.
Brilliant.
But a new thought entered.
My question to you, how can we be certain that Adnakin can maintain control? If control is lost even for a moment...
Tenhut waved his hand quickly, returning it behind his back to lock with the other.
The matter has been taken care of. I have ensured a quantum lock which will secure the molecular compounds. There is no element for self-awareness.
Then it seems the serum is nearly ready.
That is correct, General. I will meet with my apprentice shortly. We will factor in an equation for pre-administration and begin production. Stay, won't you?
Unfortunately, I cannot. I have matters of state to attend to. According to our scouts, Scourge is nearing the city. I must oversee preparations for his arrival.
Attend to your duties, General. Inform the Pharaoh that we will administer the antidote prior to our leave.
Yes, sir.
General Dak saluted and left the room as Tenhut continued to walk along the rows of laboratory workstations. He observed nameless horrors, working tirelessly as they mixed formulas discerning logistics. None considered the icon of fear that slowly passed them by. Tenhut nodded.
Good,
he said, approving the work undergone.
Good.
He strode to the hallway at the end of the laboratory into the testing chambers. The idle bodies of the conspirators lay distorted and motionless in the darkness of the room. He walked between the great metallic slabs. He eyed each man.
Tell me, or rather just contemplate.
They could feel his humid aura of magic and technological respiration, a hot field of energy and motion.
Was your opposition to the Pharaoh really worth the demise of your friends and the loss of your freedom? Are things really all too terrible within Egyptia?
He stared at both men. as if expecting a response.
Cheer up, for both of you. You should feel honored to be a part of Egyptian research. You are to be the first to demonstrate a new breed of army.
Tenhut glanced to his side.
Thus calling for a new breed of warfare.
He leaned in close to the former admiral. The mechanisms of the Commandant's automated breath and electronic voice drooled through Grax, rattling his innards.
I sense now you realize the gravity of your situation.
He glanced at Tret.
Did you really think your muscle could topple the might of Akhenaten?
Tret managed a muffled groan, the sound coming from deep within as Tenhut bounced up and forward in excitement.
That is the will I so require. Defiance, even in the wake of your downfall.
He straightened his stance, feeling a retraction from the fear of the captives.
I say, I admire your spirit. The both of you have perseverance, for what it's worth. More so than your friend Inhosa, who appears to have accepted his renewal back into service against my advisement. Akhenaten sees something in the young architect that I do not. I believe his former glory was short-lived.
He thought for a moment.
Once we unlock the power of the Black Sun, we will have no need for architects or armies. By will alone we shall mold the universe. A pity you shall miss it.
Tenhut watched the rebels blink. It was all they could do.
I wonder how your consciousness will be affected once the transformation is complete. You will tell me.
He stared, the traitors witnessing his static gaze.
You fools will have nothing to do but observe your thoughts.
Tenhut paused.
And your fears.
He shook his head, starting toward the exit. The horror of the traitors failing to sequester to the contrary had expanded as the Commandant traveled out of the laboratory towards his office.